In the year 2025, two best friends rewatch one of the best mecha animes ever made, in Santi's opinion. 26 episodes wasn't long enough, so to create more fans, Nick and Santi from Team Flashback are going to deep dive into IGPX. Hopefully the creators see this because this is a show worth fighting for.
In the year 2049, the world's most popular motorsport is the Immortal Grand Prix. 2 teams of 3 pilots, 60 miles of track, speeds upwards of 350 miles per hour. In the Pro League, the IG1, the world's most elite teams compete for the ultimate prize, to win the IGPX.
Guys, welcome to a very special episode of the Flashback Cartoon Hour. Today, I am happy to announce that we are doing our very first anime series ever. Santi, why don't you tell them what it's all about?
So the original Japanese air date was on October 5th, 2005. The American air date was November 5th, 2005. The Japanese creator, Mitsuri Hongo, teamed up with IG Studios and Cartoon Network for, at its time, was one of the first blends of East meets West. At the time, IG Studios worked closely with Ghibli Studios, and IG Studios was responsible for Ghost in the Shell, very popular anime at the time. So I recently found out that slice of life was a genre of anime that I never really heard of. It's not really stuff that me and Nick typically watch.
It's not our style of anime.
They're more of it's more of a drama series, but
so I'd say we're more shonen.
Shonen, like action packed.
Yep.
So the creators labeled this anime as a mecha, sports, and slice of life anime, and that kind of threw me off. But like once you actually start watching the anime, you realize that besides the racing and the mech fights, they really show the team's life outside of the sport that they play. And I could really understand, I'm like, okay, I can understand the whole slice of life aspect.
This was Toonami's first original series, aired in 160 countries. This collaboration passion project really pushed forward the talent and love for Eastern animation, i.e. stuff like Avatar.
The Last Airbender. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Me and Nick, while we were doing some research, we found that was more of a Chinese American influence. You found the word. But should have wrote it down.
But there's been some projects before between East meets West. A lot of like the 80s, like Transformers and stuff. You can kind of see it, but it was really the King Kong show.
King Kong anime.
Yep, that was in the 60s. But it was really these Americans kind of pushing out to Japan. It wasn't really like a duel, them working together from start to finish. And This series was originally created as a 5-part micro series, which took over as the 4th event in Toonami's Total Immersion events, or TIE for short. These stories usually involved a plot with Toonami's hosts Tom and Sarah, but was completely replaced with IGPX instead for the final one. The micro series is slightly different from the full-length series, as it involves no racing and all mecha fights, which includes stuff with like guns and fighting almost like a tournament style inside like an arena. Koichi Mashimo, guys, if we butcher these names, we're American.
So sorry.
Apologize.
No disrespect towards the Japanese. We love literally almost.
Yeah, and we love this series and we're just so happy and passionate for it. But so Koichi Mashiro directed the miniseries, and B-Train, along with IG Studios, animated it. The microseries was so popular that Toonami asked for an entire series to be created.
So Hongo just came off the project Outlaw Star when IG Studios asked him to work on IGPX.
Mm-hmm.
And when he first joined the project, and what I loved about rewatching this as an adult, from like as a kid, you don't really appreciate a show for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, it's racing, there's robots, there's fighting, like, wow, that's really cool. But once I got behind, so Hongo was really inspired by F1 motorsport when making this series. And when you look at it from a sports standpoint, there's teams, there's vendors, there's sponsors. The mechs are tatted up with sponsors all up on their mech suits. And I thought that was really cool. I could really see how it was inspired from popular motorsport.
Yeah, it almost feels like a real sport when you're sitting there watching it.
I'm hoping one day we get this. I doubt we will.
You can even have teams that's not the main characters that are still some of your favorite teams out there.
We definitely have, like, no offense against teams Toonami, but we do think there are some cooler teams out there.
Looking at you, Velstein.
I really hope one day they dive into the past of Satomi's career throughout the IG3 and IG2. We'll get to that.
Well, canonically, we really have about 1 year before the IGPX starts really kicking into
True, yeah. Because they started off in 2026, so, you know...
or at least one of the teams had a creation in 2026.
Yeah, we couldn't... we'll touch it.
We'll dive into that in a little bit.
But yeah, so Hongo realizing that F1 wasn't really popular in the western states, aka us, you know, like we grew up with like NASCAR and stuff. I wasn't a huge NASCAR fan, but you know, like boys, cars, like we love it.
Racing and
he definitely wanted to introduce that to a younger audience towards his Western partners. I wanted to get into the animation. Nick, do you want to start? You want me to?
I just want to add a couple of things.
Yes, let's add away.
This series really did a good job because you know me, Santi. I'm a huge Speed Racer fan, so I've always kind of had
and a huge Gundam fan.
Yes, and like this kind of combined both of them into one anime. And the thing was, when it aired, I was kind of a little bit ignorant because you know the series aired 2005. I would have been 12, and you would have been 10.
Yep,
and it had a big lineup to fight up against.
Yeah.
You know, Duel Monsters was whatever, but we were looking it up and, you know, there's Dragon Ball Z on there, which is my favorite anime of all time. Then also it had to deal with
Prince of Tennis, Zatch Bell, Naruto, One Piece.
In particular, would go Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, and One Piece before IGPX would even come on at 10:30. And at that point, you're like, damn, I've already hit all my the big hitters for the night. Maybe you would sit and watch a couple episodes, but like now that I'm older and I've been able to go back and watch how great this series was, it's so slept on. And that's why we're doing this episode today, because we really want to bring it out in the open and see if anyone else remembers this awesome series. All right, you can continue.
All right, so yeah, I wanted to, again, for the appreciation for like the art behind and all the hard work that went behind this series, I want to talk about the animation a little bit because the animation just looks beautiful. Me and Nick recently purchased the anniversary Blu-ray edition. They put out an anniversary edition 10 years ago, but they put out the Blu-ray edition recently, and it was remastered and looks beautiful. Their lead 3D animator was Maki Yoshida in IG Studios' American branch, and they thought the best way to represent mechs going over 350 miles per hour would be with 3D animation, and it is so beautifully represented. It's so clean and crisp, the transition between 2D and 3D.
It was a brilliant idea.
You know, going from the sparks coming out of the skates on the bottom of the mechs to the after-image blur representing how fast the mechs were actually going. Getting the viewer really immersed into the race with the camera angles constantly changing, not to overwhelm the viewer, but to really let them experience the pilot's constant adrenaline focus. You'll see a lot of times during the races, you'll be trying to focus on a fight, and then like it'll just be like, and you're like, the camera's going everywhere, and it's just fucking amazing.
Everything's fast.
You literally feel like, okay, the game's on tonight. I gotta sit down and watch this. And when the race is going, you're like, holy shit, like, let's go, like, come on. Like, it's wild.
It feels like the entire series is just on cocaine. It's just everything, the camera angles, the speed lines, the characters, the action, everything is just boom, 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 boom. But then they have those moments where it's like not in the race and it slows down, and they take the time to do the character development, and that's all real Hongo. Yeah, he showed up and decided to be he decided to be a pirate from Star Wars.
But another thing I want to talk about, the music. Their music choice was so beautifully selected. Toonami works a lot with Ninja Tune for a lot of their shows in general, and they got them for this one. I know in the Japanese version, they play some different music. Me and Nick haven't personally watched it, but like
we did catch the Japanese open.
Saw the opening.
Yeah. And it was cool, but I do think that I prefer the American
we think
version.
Toonami's the what's it called, superior version.
Yeah,
but
the pinnacle version.
I still we still respect the art that goes behind the original creation. Shout out to one of my old favorites, Diplo. Diplo was featured a lot in season 1. His earliest albums, Florida, amazing. And there's some MF Doom in there. One of the mechanics is listening to MF Doom when he's approached by the Satomi owner.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, when the old guy that used to be friends with her, so Mrs.
The one that the old dude she brings up later in the season. Right.
So when she's approaching him, you can hear on his headphones, "I Wonder" by King Ghidorah, aka MF Doom.
That's awesome, dude.
So all you MF Doom fans out there could appreciate that in the Toonami version. So like I was saying earlier, Hongo was coming off projects like Outlaw Star and Sakura Wars. When he got pulled to be asked to go on this project of on IG Studios. Now the miniseries was made before he joined IG Studios, and when they asked him to join, he saw it and he's like, I really want it to be a racing show that's a more fun and clearer storyline for our younger audience, and I think we both agree that was the
way to be, because especially with what, like we were saying, how it was the whole arena fighter, I feel like it would have definitely gotten lost, especially because we had series like G Gundam or Zoids. I think it was the second Zoid series where they fought more in like the tournament style, team versus team, opposed to like we're in a war trying to get at each other. So that had been done. But doing the race, and they already had the name Immortal Grand Prix, which just sounds like a race. You know what I mean?
That's what I thought too. I thought we were looking up some interviews, and they were saying, at least actually, she was saying the 3D lead design was saying that they wanted IG to be part of the name.
Yeah,
kind of a humble thing when you think about it. Like, oh, let's put our own studio's name.
It's smart though.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
But what's it called? Like I said, Hongo, being a fan of F1 racing, really did find a way to make it so that these mechs could be just having it clear, going to racing at the finish line, just skating across the tracks,
and almost having like not quite the Transformers like aspect to it, but having them switch from mode to mode for each different part of the race or each different round, right? So first round they come out of the gun.
Yeah. So first lap they're all going. I mean, they really don't specify what they do in the first lap.
I assumed it was just another speed aspect.
Yeah,
they get to the battle portion.
Yeah. So lap 2 is. I mean, we'll talk about the rules later on. But what was I going to say? So originally the show was only supposed to last one season, but someone on the team was like, well, we should put out another season just to see the repercussions of season 1's champions. And Hongo thought that was a good idea. And I was looking up. Well, actually, so me and Nick were talking about how going back to the miniseries, I think it would have been a good idea, but maybe like later on before you become pro and reach the racers, maybe in the beginning you guys had to fight to the death.
Yeah,
like giant.
It would be like a cool aspect if it was like the poor teams or the people that don't have enough money and they have to fight each other and battle each other in that kind of environment with the guns, with the missile launching. And if you can live and survive and then make it so that like now you're fancier, you're in the next race and you make it to the IG3, then you can kind of relax a bit. It's not so much about the safety and stuff. It's more about racing. Yeah, you can still get hurt and beating the shit out of each other, but it's not as much weapons. You feel a little bit safer.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about a little bit of the lead character design. Toshisha Kaya, really was given free reign from Hongo. Hongo would hand him the script directly, so he could start brainstorming ideas, and he really appreciated the freedom that he was given. But I thought it was cool enough to put in the show that Benjamin Bright, who is the announcer of the sport,
and we'll go into him too and who voices him. Great character.
He was worried about the placing of his hand while holding the mic, because he's like, well, this character's always going to be holding a mic or being around a mic. So he was frustrated about that. Like, well, how would a sports entertainer like hold a mic? He didn't think it was something that he would struggle with. And also worried about one of the main female leads, Fontaine, because the script says she's supposed to be the prettiest girl in the series. So he's like, well, how do I define prettiest girl? Like, how am I supposed to draw that? So I thought it was cool just to like how much heart really went into it. Obviously, me and Nick watched all the series. We had to do our own digging too, but it was really nice to.
Yeah, we had to tell them about the Blu-ray because you literally can't find season 2 anywhere. We're going to take a time from talking about the
season
the
1
stuff, but
season 1 you can find on Toonami.
Yeah, basically everywhere.
You can stream it on Toonami.
Bling TV also.
You can't find anywhere. And I told myself years ago, I'm like, I'm going to have to own the entire series because I missed this show so much. And me and Nick would talk about the podcast. We would talk about what's our first anime? It's 2025. Well, what animes aired 20 years ago? And I'm like, oh my God, IGPX, one of my favorite shows. Like I was like, I'm buying it right now. I went on Amazon, bought it. I think it was only like $40, not bad.
Yeah, and here I was thinking like I would be able to like kind of cheat the system a bit and find. I was like, no, there's some internet archive didn't have it nowhere on.
We don't illegally stream it. We don't.
No, of course not.
Cut that.
But like, nothing had it, right? So there's, nothing, no streamings on TV or nothing, not on Roku. I mean, like we said, season 1, yes, but season 2, no. And then eventually, I was just so frustrated that I ended up getting the Blu-ray too off of the Crunchyroll, like right off the Crunchyroll app on the TV.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They have like a whole. They have a whole section of it.
I should have looked there years ago.
Yep.
Slacking.
But I digress.
I mean, I'm glad that you found it. I'm glad it took very little.
Oh, it was brilliant. Yeah. So the website, theigpx.com, which the creators themselves created to go with the series, and then all the commentaries and the actual show that we've watched on the DVD. This is where we've gotten all our information. So it's really straight from the mouth.
Another couple of designers I want to talk about were handpicked by Hongo. Atsushi Takuchi, probably saying that wrong, and Junya Ashigi stated
Ishigaki.
Yeah, you got it. They stated when designing the mechs, like they were asked what was the most challenging parts of designing the mechs, and they definitely said the extra expanding limbs. We'll get into that when we start getting into the mechs, but like just like they have the main mech design, but like when more special features and moving parts are added, it was definitely harder for them to do. And they really did appreciate the freedom. Also, they said that was their weakness. They had too much freedom. They would go too much. When they would ask for people's opinion, they'd be like, oh, we trust you. And, I think we can all understand people not getting held back or like refrain from their thoughts a little bit. But they wanted to give each mech their own personality, treating them like their own character. But Hongo also reminded them that in this world, in this reality, that these machines, all these different teams from around the world are making these mechs. So they can't look like they were made from one person. You have to, like, different countries, different companies made these mechs. They all had to have very different designs. And I think we saw and appreciated
And they did a good job without being too stereotypical with their designs. Like when I eventually do show you G Gundam, like they do the same thing where each region has a different Gundam, but like the Mexican Gundam has a sombrero with the poncho on. Like the American one looks like, like they have all these things. And, I felt like this series was just able to do it in just a better, more...
the one American team they made were kind of like gangsters. They kind of made them rough around.
Yeah.
We'll get into them, but...
you can't win them all.
Especially the hot dog stand.
Oh, yeah.
That was funny. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're sorry, guys. And girls.
No girls.
But when building mechs, he wanted them to be bright and colorful to attract the younger audiences, because this show was geared between boys around 9 and 14, as most shonen anime are.
I feel like that's such a big gap of age too, 9 and 14.
Well, you're like coming on the cusp of like preteen, 10 to 12, and then 14, you're like 13, 14, you're like in puberty. So, and I just want to talk about like again with the differences of mech, like going Team Skylark. They're the only mechs that I saw that really had a head ornament, and we'll get into that when we're going over the teams. But like they have like a curved sort of helmet that goes over their head, where most of the teams, their heads are like kind of tucked in their shoulders, but Skylark's head was sticking out when they have their curved helmet. But that was on purpose because their sponsor, it's an all-female team. They're all models, and their sponsors are cosmetic models. What is used for aerodynamics and slipstream also resembles hair. So again, remember, it's a sport, guy. So the sponsorship was really shining through in the mech design. Loved that.
And it feels that's like something, you know what I mean? Like all that kind of stuff with the ads on the mechs and stuff. Very NASCAR, you know? It's just everything comes together in such a great and beautiful way. And minute details are just so well thought out and executed.
Little Easter egg on Team Edge Raid. They have a sticker on one of their arms that says GITS, Ghost in the Shell, which was something that IG Studios worked on before the IGPX project.
And we didn't know that until we saw the commentary. Yep. That was a cool, they were like, yeah, we did a little wink on that.
I mean, we knew they worked on Ghost in the Shell, but
yeah, we didn't know that they had done that.
We didn't know that like that was a shout out on Team Edge Raid. I thought that was really cool. Another little fun fact was when they were designing the Satomi logo, the creator thought it looked ugly as hell and told them to redo it. And also, Team Skylark's pink defender was originally green.
Yes. So. And Team Skylark, I just want to say, has always been girls. It's one of the only all-girl team.
Yeah, we'll get into them more. Another couple feats when it came to animation, when it came to like the heavy mechs, like the defenders, Liz, the lead defender on Team Satomi, her mech really being able to execute Chinese fighting style Taekwondo. They were really impressed over that. They loved how it came out. And also when you see mechs getting broken apart, like when they get that final shot of like, I love how like during the race the camera will like pause just to like really let the viewer like sink that in and like, okay, that part just broke off this mech. You're traveling at 350 miles per hour. And you see the pilot like in shock, like, oh shit, like my mech just broke down.
I just think that the animation's so beautiful that like you really can see the different fighting styles and the influences of them. Like you said, with Liz and doing the Taekwondo. And then you have Takashi who does the Kendo, which is, the samurai fighting with the sword and all that. Was it Kempo? I'm sorry, guys. I always mix up the two. I think it's Kempo.
Doing the
poing it up.
But Nick, you want to get into our cast?
Yeah. Let's start off with the man himself. Takashi Jin is played by Haley Joel Osment.
I'm Takashi of Team Satomi.
And we all know Haley Joel not only as the kid from The Sixth Sense, but from what major video game series, Santi?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, beautiful.
Christ.
And we were watching him do a commentary, and he's like young because it was like right before this come out, and they were like doing a little behind the scenes thing with him, seeing him so young, and then he just started talking about how he had just finished up, and like what the difference is between this and doing something like Kingdom Hearts. But doing Kingdom Hearts probably helped him get into this, because Kingdom Hearts was something else that was originally Japanese that he had to learn how to, time and do the, time out the mouthing and everything.
He said that Kingdom Hearts helped him get into.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we love that.
Next we have Liz Recaro.
Yep.
I can't believe I have to say this again. But are you ever going to learn? You can't just leave us in the dust like that, Takashi.
Played by the beautiful and wonderful Michelle Rodriguez, who is well known for the Fast and Furious franchise
and the other
and many other movies, both live action, and she's done some
video games, anime,
voiceover work.
She's multi-talented.
Next, we have Amy Stapleton, played by Hynden Walsh.
Hey, Luca. I know everyone thinks I'm a genius, but I bet it would surprise them if they found out how hard you have to work to stay in the IG-1. Know what I mean? You know, Luca, communication is a two-way street, so feel free to say something. After all, you're not just my study partner, you're my best friend, aren't you? Okay, fine.
Most famously known as Starfire from the Teen Titans TV show. in case the name doesn't ring a bell.
And Teen Titans Go. Still doing that.
Yeah, they're back in the limelight because, Teen Titans Go came out and has been such a big, phenomenon.
Now, this blew us away. Who the actor that played Andrei
Rublev.
He's Russian.
Yeah. Played by Lance Henriksen.
Okay, everybody, we're definitely going to have our hands full here. Our first race is going to be a tough one. It's against Team Sledge Mama. These guys are old-school veterans of the Immortal Grand Prix, and I'm afraid racing fair isn't something they do.
No kidding.
Nano enhancements, drive hacks, illegal gear, you name it. The bottom line is you've got no chance if you race like you have been.
Who we love the series Alien, so we know him. But if other people don't know him, he's Bishop from the Alien seasons. And in the interview he did, I didn't even put it together.
Yep.
He was also called...
he was Kerchak from Tarzan.
Yep.
Blew me away. Just killed someone.
All right. Next, we have Benjamin Bright, who is the announcer, and he does such a good job in this series, but played by the very talented Tom Kenny.
Takashi Jin holds him off for the win. Okay, folks, let's go to the big board and announce the IG2 champion. Huh?
AKA the Mr. SpongeBob SquarePants.
Just imagine the voice of SpongeBob. He's floating over a blimp.
And also Heifer Wolf from Rocko's Modern Life for your little bit older fans.
He's floating over the blimp, which he calls the big eye in the sky, commenting on the entire race. His commentary,
perfect.
Again, makes you feel like you're watching, like you're in a sporting event. You're listening, like, oh, wow, like what a good play. Like Tom Kenny crushed it, per usual.
Yeah, it's literally to a point where, if Tom Kenny wasn't in there doing such good commentary on the races that are happening, I don't know if the series could have been as good as it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because it really makes you feel like it's a real sport, that it's real, fast-paced action going on, and that this dude is just during a football game where the announcers start doing, and they really get you hyped up when there's a touchdown, or in a hockey game when someone shoots a goal, and different kind of stuff like that. Beautiful job, Tom Kenny. Next, we have Alex Cunningham.
Our teams met at the opening ceremony, but we've never been formally introduced. I'm Team Velstein's lead pilot, Cunningham Hume.
Another big name, very well known in the Toonami domain as Tom from Toonami, the robot who would always set up in between all the different shows. And anyone who knows Toonami or grew up just in America watching anime.
Well, not even just Tom. Like he's in.
Oh yeah.
Also, any anime you can think of, video games, he's everywhere.
He's Spike from
Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
One of the best of our generation, one of the best voice actors.
And just personally, one of my favorite voice actors of all time. I've been asked that question a few times. Steve Bloom is just always in my top 4. Yeah, top 4.
But you know who outranks him?
The one, the only, Mark Hamill.
River, Team Satomi never gave you a chance to show you were better than Takashi. Now here's your chance to prove yourself.
If you have seen or listened to our Batman the Animated Series episode or any of our DC Animated Universe related episodes,
he finds his way onto our podcast.
We've talked about Mark quite a few times, and it's another thing. He seemed like he was very passionate when he came in, and he was doing it.
He loves playing the villain. Even though we don't think Yama the villain, but
not really a villain.
When you're first introduced to this character, you think he is the villain.
Yeah, like a dickish rival, who is way younger than he looks. The dude looks like he should be about 50 with that grade.
Yeah, the Japanese, I was telling Nick, I was like, I feel like they have no concept of time over there.
Dude looks like he's 40, and
he's 31, but he looks like a ragged old man. You're like,
guys, I'm 31.
The IGPX just fucking matured the shit out of him.
Yeah, I'm 31 and he's 31, and I wish I could just pull up a picture and do me and Yama. And then last we have Jason Jabanko.
Just a little shout out,
which was a cool little one of the 2 top creators. He was the hot dog vendor.
Here you go, the usual.
Thanks a lot. I'm starving.
Anything for you there, champ. I was rooting for you.
Best hot dog in the city.
It's a hot dog vendor that Takashi goes to almost after every race. His design is kind of funny. It's a big, muscly man with an eye patch, and Hongo said that that's how he imagined American hot dog vendors look like. So
yeah, he was saying
little
that
dig on Americans. It's kind of a funny dig.
It was funny, and it was during the San Diego Comic-Con panel that we saw him, and they were like, "Oh, why did you give him an eye patch? What's the story behind that?" And he told Maki, who was the
The 3D designer, yep.
and the interpreter, if you will,
Yep.
during the panel, and she was like, "Oh, we just thought that's what Americans look like," which is great. But tell them about the little nod and
So working off Jason DeMarco, the midfielder, one of the teammates on Team Edge Raid, her name is Bella, and that's a shout out to
Bella DeMarco,
his daughter, whose name is Bella. So I thought that was
it was cool. He named one of the characters after his daughter.
Yeah. It's not really an important character, but
yeah, but still sweet that he was able to do that, and then pick up your daughter and be like, "Look, I named her after you." That'd be like me watching a show and just seeing Nicholas Scola go Super Saiyan. I don't know if it's possible, but
it's more like ball to sand. But
I would turn yellow here.
Hey, so now that we talked about the behind the scenes, the animation, we wanted to get to the nitty gritty of the main story, the main concept.
Yep, the rules, regulations, and
where's the sports people? We're trying to teach you. Next year when we all get a 3-man squad and we build these robots.
Yep,
start racing.
Now,
Boston.
If you had to pick out of the rest of the Goon Squad that's part of the cast of Flashback Cartoon Hour, obviously me and you, but who would you pick as our third?
Corey's a speed demon, dude.
And you're just saying that because he's Asian.
I'm saying that because I've raced multiple times. I've raced you several times. Yeah, I'd say Corey, 100%.
Corey?
Yeah. He'd get us that IG title.
True, and he takes things very seriously. With pool and bowling.
Shout out to Corey in the pool league.
Yeah,
Corey in the pool league. He'll make it to Vegas eventually. All right. For the IG, there's 3 leagues: IG3, IG2, IG1. IG1 is the pro leagues. The whole point is when you enter the preliminaries, past the preliminaries, you get into the IG1.
Satomi! They're a rookie team from the U.S. with absolutely tremendous potential. They've had quite a bumpy ride throughout their IG2 career and just barely made the cut to stand before us today. The big question is, will Lady Luck still smile on them in the IG1?
Hey, it took more than luck to get us here.
Now, there's obviously 3 pilots on each team, and I'm not sure. Oh yeah, so with the IG3, there's way more teams than the IG1. Each league they shorten the team one. IG1 has the shortest roster of teams, 6 teams or whatever. So when it comes to the IG1, there's just 6 teams, and whoever comes in the 6th place of that on that season, they get bumped back to IG2. Sorry, you suck, you can't stay. So now with these races, points are really implemented in these races. When it comes to coming in first, you get 15 points. Second place, 7 points. Third, 5 points. And the last 3 places, 4, 5, and 6, get 3, 2, 1. Now, if your mech's totaled, you get fucking 0 points. You don't score any points in your team. Now,
if you don't cross that finish line, you're getting nothing.
Speaking of totaled mechs, they're one of the coolest aspects I love. Again, showing that it's a fucking racing show. They have what they call the rolling skeleton.
Okay, all you IGPX fans, now that we're on the 2nd lap, both teams will get the opportunity to pit. Right now, we're racing under caution. When that signal flips to yellow, no passing or attacking is allowed until they're back under the green. And now, here comes a fixture in every IG race, the running skeleton.
It's a portable pit. These mechs can't pull. They're going 350 miles per hour. They can't pull over into the pit to make repairs. When something happens on the track where they need repairs, they call a caution, a pit stop, but now each team only gets 1 pit stop per race,
and that's it.
And that rolling skeleton, we're gonna do some reaction videos later on the day, but it's just, I can't describe it, but picture this giant garage just coming at you, and once you park the mech, They take the broken piece off, they put it back on, they just repair you.
And never stopping. I want to add that they never stop moving. They're constantly while they're repairing like a rock that got broken off or
so
leg.
Creative, dude. The show is so creative. I love every second of it.
Toonami, bring it back, dude.
I know. They said, I'll say this. The creators said that if they were to ever bring it back, it would probably be a prequel series about a character, Rocket, who we will talk about. A prequel series about Rocket G, who was a very famous IGPX pilot.
And Takashi's hero.
Before Takashi's time, yes, and his idol. Or it would be a sequel series about a super fan named Johnny who loved Team Satomi. I say we can do a series about IG 3 and 2 of Satomi's Rise to the Top, but that's just me. I'd be fine with any continuation of the series.
Yeah, they really set it up so that Johnny Lipkin was the next Takashi.
Yeah, that was
he joined Satomi at the end and but not obviously not as a racer, but in the crew.
Yes. And they really, I'll talk about Cunningham rivalries later.
And the one thing, another cool thing too, is that I like that if you lose the race, you're not immediately it's not like you lose and you're out for the whole season.
Yeah.
You can lose a race and then win a race. It's just like a football game, just like a hockey game.
Yeah. So when it comes to the playoffs, obviously whoever has the most points makes it to the playoffs. The
playoffs.
And also something I wanted to, I forgot to mention that every one day per season, there's an all-star event where there's different challenges, obstacle course, time trials. There was arm wrestling at one point. Thought that was weird, but okay. It's just a cool, nice little break from racing, and it can give a team that's on the bottom. It can make them rack up points if they win the all-star race. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It really does help teams that are on the bottom. It helps Satomi a couple times. Didn't help Black Egg, but
right.
We'll get into that.
But it was, the forwards would basically have a time race against each other, and the midfielders, I forget what they did. I know the defenders were the ones who did the arm wrestle.
He didn't participate in the All-Stars.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm sure this wasn't really specified. I'm sure you can sign up whatever teammates to be in the All-Star event.
It's essentially the Pro Bowl.
Today is the annual IGPX All-Star Festival! Members of all 6 teams will tackle a specially designed course. The angle of the up-down has been changed from 90 to 60 degrees, and the S-curve has been replaced with consecutive chicanes. Lead pilots will run 3 laps and compete for the best time. Yama is racing with absolute concentration. Just look at his time on that last lap.
So in season 1, Takashi did time trials and Liz did arm wrestling. And then in season 2, I believe it was forwards only. They had an obstacle race where they had to race on the track with obstacles everywhere. And they could fight all 6 teams, all 6 forwards. I thought, honestly, that was one of my favorite races to see
100%.
6 different forwards on the same track fighting for first place. I thought that was fucking cool. Same with the defenders. They were on an obstacle course. Wasn't as cool as the forwards, though.
Luke Cage and Iron Fist and Jessica Jones and Daredevil.
Shut up. I was like, where's he going with this? But Nick, why don't you tell us about the teams and who they consist of?
Okay, so each team consists of 3 pilots.
At least 3 pilots.
At least, because there can be a substitute.
Yeah.
And we'll go into that in a second. But so we have the forward, which is usually the team captain. Their job is to maintain the lead and cross the line first. They have 1 midfielder and 1 defender, and both their jobs are really to provide support and make sure that the forward is not under attack and really defend him at any chance they get.
Each team consists of 1 forward, 1 midfielder, and 1 defender. They must complete 3 laps around this 60-mile course at speeds approaching 400 miles per hour. The first 3 pilots across the line receive the lion's share of the points, and the last 3, well, you don't want to be there.
The main team that we follow for the story is Team Satomi. This team is based out of Japan and founded in the year 2034. The founder, no longer in the world of the living, left it to his granddaughter. And we found that just like in most sports, the team members don't have to consist of people from their native land. Takashi is 16 and indeed is from Japan, but Amy, who is 14, hails from Ireland, though she does not have the Irish accent. And Liz, who is 16 as well, also hails from Puerto Rico.
So the creators, and one of the reasons why I like that they, this is why I was telling you. So Team Edge Raid is a Switzerland team, but they originally wanted to be Italian, and the creators found that they were going to struggle with making Italian accents. So they really just want to get rid of accents. I'm being serious. So they got rid of accents altogether. So they're like, all right,
but they kept the French.
Oh, you play Watchworld as well, oui?
That's right.
What level are you?
Almost 15.
What's your screen name?
It's Katana.
Do you always play in full battle mode? Don't you ever just chat?
Always battle mode.
Well, sometimes it can be fun just to chat. My screen name is Sotto Voce. You should send me a message sometime.
Huh? Hey, you're Fantine Valjean from Team Skylark, right?
Well, I'm flattered that you know who I am, monsieur. And you're Takashi Jin from Team Satomi. I saw your last race with Sledge Mama.
They did keep Fantine is the only one that has an accent that's like actually like from her native land.
I would figure that the French would be a harder accent than the Italian.
Maybe no Italian voice actors were available, and the French is all they could get. But
they could have won the Mario route. It's me. But before we continue, I do want to mention that Amy also has her animal companion who's a cat, and name is Luca. Do we want to go into Luca? Do you have that in a little different?
No. I that's why I put reference.
Okay,
so having classic anime trope, you think it's somewhat straightforward, then they kind of throw you through a little loop. So having an animal in the mech with you, one, you have to be certified and approved by the IG League. But
we found out only 7 teams out of the all of the leagues, right?
Only 7 teams out of 66 teams of IGPX have animals on them, and only 2 of them have made it to the IG1, Edge Raid and Satomi. We'll talk about.
So Luca is basically a cat that has a cybernetic brain.
Enhanced.
And Amy is brilliant. She went to...
They're psychically linked.
And she went to college at what age? 7?
Yeah, like hella young.
So she's able to now connect with Luca, and who helps her inside the mech.
Makes her reflexes much faster.
Yep, cat-like, if you will.
And when you watch the anime, which I hope you all do, you can see it on the track. She is spinning, throwing kicks like fuck.
Yeah, she does some crazy moves.
She honestly is responsible for like most of the wins.
Yeah, you would think it would be Liz and Takashi. No, don't get me wrong, they're
fucked.
We'll go into that, but my whole thing is like, you would assume that they would be the big fighters, and they're good brawlers when it comes to just like beating them up. But like Amy, you're right, is the like flexible one who's doing all the flips,
and she's the youngest member of the fucking team.
Yep,
next to Luca. Our next team we got is Sledge Mama. This all-American team, we found out this was one of the first teams to be part of the first ever like IGPX season.
The IGPX.com literally stated that it was conceived when the IGPX
was like founded.
Yep.
It didn't give us the fans to this day. Still don't know what year IGPX came out. Or what did we deduce? Was it 2020? Fuck.
No. That was just a later. There's nothing that gives us a hint to when this started. Because you have the Rocket G who was doing shit like 20 years.
15 years ago.
Okay, gotcha.
So Team Sledge Mama, were originally supposed to be the main antagonist of the series, but they ended up scrapping that idea, and you find out that their really edgy personality was because when Yanma, the team's captain and forward, when he first meets Takashi, he recognizes his talent. It reminds him of a younger Cunningham, who we'll get into. And he was like, I don't fucking like this guy. He's going to give me trouble. I'm going to try to scare him.
Yep.
So he antagonizes him and intimidates him
in a bathroom.
Yeah, with this whole team surrounding Takashi.
What's up, guys?
Hold up. You know, I don't like you. I hate punk kids like you who think they're so good they don't have to take the IGPX seriously. Drives me nuts.
Oh yeah? Well, I do take it seriously.
Shut up. I've seen you race. Just because nobody's ever died out there doesn't mean people can't get hurt.
Great, I'll keep that in mind.
Glad to hear it. Because if you're smart, you'll learn to listen to your betters. Give it up, rookie. You'll never beat me out there.
Thanks for the advice.
I don't know why you're so worried about that kid.
Yeah, he couldn't beat us even if we decided to play fair.
Of course not. But still, the kid bugs me. His attitude. Thinks he's got the whole world at his feet.
Mind you, Yama is 31. This kid is 16. So, you know. But, you know, getting a little sidetracked here. They literally, in the middle of season 1, Team Satomi is getting harassed by this fucking gang. And they assume that Team Sledge Mama sent them after them. When, mind you,
forgot all about that.
When they're about to get jumped, Team Sledge Mama saves them. And you find out they're just Sledge Mama super fans that were just taking it way too far. And they were like, oh, we would never do something like that. They're like, we'll come after you on the track. We'll never come after you outside of the race.
So like a code of honor, you know?
So who we thought was the dirty villain, of course, Mark Hamill made us think us too, because he's such a good freaking great voice actor. And they even said in the interview, do you think he's a villain? And he said, I truly don't think he is. Just his personality. He's not a bad guy.
He's a grouch.
But yes, moving on to the different mechs' style and abilities. The forward that Yama uses, and occasionally their substitute, I forgot to put him in here.
River.
We'll have to throw in River. Oh, we forgot to talk about River with Tomi too.
It's okay. I think he's earned his right more as a Sledge Mama.
Yeah.
Because he defects. Spoiler. This whole episode is spoiling.
Remind me to backtrack once I get to the bottom. Okay, so the forward mech that Yama uses, I don't know the name of the ability, but he's able to launch his arms and he can somehow direct the trajectory of where his arm's going to go. There's jets on the arms, I assume. It looks pretty fucking cool. So that's a long distance ability that his team can utilize. The midfielder, Tima, who is 28 years old, has these little like air rocket missiles that he can also control the trajectory of where they're going. So they're really keeping it long distance, but unlike their defender, Dima, they really were created with these names. Yanma, Tima, and Dima. They didn't give them last names, by the way. Everybody else got last names, but not the American team. Japan hates Americans. We love you. 29-year-old. His defender mech had an ability called Shoulder Crush, really the only name of the abilities I can get from Team Sledge Mama, where it would, instead of his arms, tuck it in, and it would be his shoulders. Might as well call them elbows, but whatever. And there'd be a giant drill. So when you'd get up close and personal to the mechs, drill them literally to the face. That would do massive damage. So again, it just shows this team, Sledge Mama, they like to play dirty, not using illegal moves, but they will use tough, dirty moves. They like to pursue one.
They like to gang up.
They like to gang up on one member. They'll do whatever it takes to win the race. You want to talk about Team Black Egg?
Yeah.
Nikki Poo?
So Team Black Egg, this team hails from Argentina and was founded in 2033. Forward, Ricardo Montezio is from Argentina and is 20 years old. Their midfielder, Grant McCain, is from Australia and is 15 years old. And lastly, their defender is Glass Jones.
Badass name.
Awesome fucking name.
Fucking A.
He hails from England. Blimey. And is 17 years old. Black Egg specializes in defense, letting opponents tire themselves out, and in a pinch emitting smoke that blocks out the sensors of the enemy team, giving them an easy dot.
I just wanted to say I loved Black Egg's design. Green's my favorite color, and their forward is it's all black with like lines of neon green, and it just looks fucking dope. It sucks to get kicked out of the IG1 in this first season, so I guess they can't race for shit. But I will say it was the creator. Also, their design was also one of the creators' favorites. So I'm like, cool.
I love their design, and I always will have a soft spot for Argentina, just because in college I became some really good friends with some Argentinians.
Oh, I thought you were gonna make a joke.
No. I'm being serious. Yeah. In college, I went to college with
like random
this woman. Her name is Maho.
Wait, you told me that.
Majo, but she was one of the sweetest girls you could think of. I literally said if anyone was going to be a female president, it was going to be her, because she was like one of those people that was in every club and knew everybody that walked in the halls and just made it a point to talk to everybody. And she was part of the Argentinian military. And just so I've always had this soft spot for Argentina. So love you guys.
Love you
all of Argentina.
Love you guys. So next team we want to talk about, Team Edge Raid. This team hails from Switzerland, but originally they were going to have the team from Italy. But like I said earlier, the creators were struggling with Italian accent, so they just want to drop that idea altogether. But
when was it founded?
So this team was founded in 2026.
A year from now is when this team was created.
We got to go. So if we go to Switzerland, they're probably building them.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Fucking now.
They're all tucked away and neutral and...
Is that it? Oh, yeah, it's the Sweden's. Yeah. You got me. All right. So their forward, Bjorn John. Swedish ass name.
Bjorn. Bjorn.
Bjorn John Hansen. I think that's the closest we're going to get. Hails from Sweden. He's 15 years old. He's partnered with, guess what? A feline animal whose name is Sola. He has a dog, same ability as Luca.
They even form quite a rivalry, the dog and the cat.
Yeah.
They have a whole episode dedicated to that rivalry.
His dog. I loved it. Yep. First time we see them race at night, too, by the way. So I was pretty pumped about that. And not as smart as Luca, but, it was still entertaining to watch.
This conversation is a complete waste of time.
Here, kitty. Wanna play? Just wanna make sure you can hear me.
I hear you, but I wish I didn't.
Luca, prepare to swallow a devastating defeat, because I'm taking you to school.
Well, I hope it's obedience school, because I've heard with your limited brain capacity, just staying housebroken's a challenge.
Just keep talking, you stupid cat. We'll see how smart you feel when I start ripping you to pieces.
Luca, are you talking with Sola right now?
Yes, typical dog babble. It's not even worth repeating.
Their midfielder, Bella DeMarco. We referenced her earlier. She was inspired by
the creator's daughter.
Yes, the name was. I don't know about the design.
Yeah.
The design looks a little rough, but she is from Italy, and she's 21. She is 15. And the defender, Frank Bullet, who is 21, is from Spain. All the teams, I thought this was really cool and creative, especially the way they used it. All the teams were equipped. They were able to shoot wires like their Don Flamingo with the string fruit. If you get that reference, good for you. And you see them use their wires and they look invisible.
And they have like the little spinning ball when they shoot them out. So it almost looks, in a sense, like a yo-yo, but not really.
No, they connected those to the wire, but they really were just hooking it on, like, think about like as a necklace, and they were using them to like drag. But I thought the wire.
But I just meant like the design of it looked.
Yeah, true. But you first see them use these wires look fucking invisible. And you first see them, their forward is standing on the wires while the defender and midfielder hold it, and they just launch them up to the sky. They use the wires to traverse the track so creatively. They're swinging around like fucking Spider-Man, or they'll straight up use the wires to trip the enemy and make them crash or drag them on the fucking ground.
So it really makes you wonder what is legal or not legal when it comes to these.
I was literally surprised, because we'll get into other techniques that became illegal, but it's like you see shit like this and it's like, what the fuck? Like, it's really like, imagine if we were back to the miniseries where people were just fucking spraying guns.
And the partnering up of these different pilots and stuff, some like when you look at Frank Bullet, he's a 21-year-old man.
And he has to take orders from a 15-year-old
and
teenager.
His two teammates are both 15. It's just that dynamic in itself is crazy, because it's two different people in two different aspects of their life. Two different kinds of maturities going into one team.
Again, just showing how creative and unique the show was. You want to talk about Skylark?
You damn right I do.
So, Kelsey.
Team Skylark is the all-female team hailing from France and was founded in 2029. Mech's unique design really utilized slipstreaming, as mentioned from above. The forward being Takashi's
from before, not above.
Well, like above. Oh yeah, well, whatever. So next we have Team Skylark, the all-female team hailing from France. Their mech's unique design really utilized slipstreaming, as mentioned before.
Did you point up when you said before?
I went like this, dude.
Oh,
I'm by turrets, RT.
You cracked me up.
Ooh, okay. So next we have Team Skylark, the all-female team hailing from France and was founded in the year 2029. Their mech's unique design really utilized slipstreaming, as mentioned from the beginning of the episode. The forward being Takashi's love interest, Fontaine Valagine, a.k.a. the Princess, who I loved.
She's 17. He's a pedophile.
Whoa. I was, hey, I was 12 when she was 17. Don't pull that shit on.
You talked about her earlier. Nah, I'm kidding, guys.
I'd be old enough to be like her great grandfather. 2029, not really. I would be
who said
34.
Who said she was a founding member? Like we don't know when she joined, because remember, this is in 2049. So that's 20 years later. So she was.
Regardless, I just want to really iterize that I was 12 when I had a crush on her.
It was a joke, guys. We were kidding.
All of a sudden, the cops bust into that's it, boys.
You're sexualizing it?
We're 20 for cartoons. The midfielder, Jessica Darlin, is 19 and from Holland. And lastly, the defender, Elisa Doolittle,
pronounced Eliza, actually.
Ooh.
I heard that in the anime. I was like, oh, Eliza, okay.
So Eliza Doolittle is 23 and from New Zealand, and no, she can't talk to animals.
So I wanted to talk about, we were talking about their head ornaments earlier and how they utilize slipstreaming. I just want to talk about their arms. What I loved about their limbs, and especially in the video game was fucking awesome, by the way. You really see them picture like a praying mantis or a mantis shrimp. They really have their arms sprung back. And when they do normal attacks, like, yes, of course, it launches a powerful hit. But when they want to get serious, they extend their arms and now have a longer range, and their punches pack way more of a punch.
They almost look like the Fighting Irish when their arms come out like this.
That's why I was saying like mantis shrimp, because like they retract their arms and they knock people.
Oh, and their punches are so fast.
Yeah,
you watch that, like how
he fucks up. Yeah, he fucks up Takashi a lot.
Yep.
I will now get into Team Velstein,
who I'm just going to go on record and say is my favorite team.
That's your favorite, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Pick Velstein and then Satomi, and then Satomi, and then probably Sledge Mama is my top three.
I'd say
with what's it called? Skylark as number.
We didn't talk about River again. We'll have to add him in, because he's an important character.
Yeah.
I'd say Black Egg and Edge Raid, because I love Edge Raid's design and those wires. And I like the rivalry between Sasha Sola and Luca. So our next team we're going to talk about is Team Velstein, the team to beat the reigning champs. When we're introduced to the series, Team Velstein already secured 2 championships. So they won the IG1 not once, but twice, 2 years in a row. The team was founded in Germany in 2036, and they quickly made it to the IG1, but then quickly got knocked back down the IG2. But after their leadership change in 2044, they stayed in the IG1 since then. And I want to talk about that leadership change back to a character we referred as the Rocket G, who in the Japanese version, they called Rocket Gerald. But the American editors they thought it didn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah, they just thought Rocket G was like cool. And it kind of has like a Racer X vibe to it.
That's what Nick thinks, but we'll see. But this used to be an old team member of Rocket G's team. And you find out later, Andre, the coach of Team Satomi, who's been leading them through very brilliantly, I would say, turns out to be Rocket G, and which is honestly really the only twist this show has to offer.
Yeah,
which is not a bad thing. But I remember as a kid, I was surprised. I was like, oh my god, it's Takashi's idol. He's been in front of him the whole time. He had no fucking idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then you find out in season 2 that back in the day, he was a fucking scumbag. He stole this,
the manager.
We should have wrote down his name, Sir something.
Yeah.
The coach of Team Velstein. He stole
the owner. Right? Well, I guess he does both parts. I guess he's both the owner because he would be the chick in Satomi.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And then he's also Rocket G's part too at the same time because they're more like very militaristic, very like, they get very stiff and they're like, sir, yes, sir.
German. It's a German.
Yeah. I'm not going to do the salute and end up as the
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Turns out he fucking stole his girl and got her pregnant and they had a life together and they took it out on the track. They beat the shit out of each other at a press conference. They challenged each other to a race. And he's the reason why Rocket G crashed and burned and retired.
Big crash, a big fist fight, and then he went off in the distance, almost like another racing character who got in a big crash and disappeared for many, many years.
Lightning McQueen.
Racer X. Unknown to Speed, this is his older brother Rex, who ran away from home years ago.
But yeah, so I thought that was a cool little backstory. Sorry, we forgot to write down the name of the Velstein owner.
It's okay.
That's on us. But yeah, after the leadership change in 2044, they stay in the IG1 and they end up winning 2 championships. I found this out recently. I always thought they had a white and green design, but it turns out it's white and gold. Whatever. I always knew they always say that, Velstein always has the highest tech, like they have the latest tech and, they're champs, like I'm not surprised. But I found out that one of their main sponsors is a company called Ashigaki, and it's a software company that every mech in the IGPX uses. So, of course, they're going to have the best tech if they're being represented by the tech that's used to basically create every mech in the IGPX. I thought that was crazy. I also want to talk about special ability that these mechs have. Really makes no logical sense, but this is an anime we're talking about, people.
Yeah, you got to have a special move. If Prince of Tennis can have special moves.
It's true, yeah. It's called the Ardargo Mono. Cool-ass name.
Come on.
Did you think you were gonna get away?
Basically, it's a giant green fucking tornado that surrounds the mech. So it protects you, and if any enemy fucking touches you, you are fucked, dude. It fucks you up. Team Satomi gets wiped out at the second lap at the first turn. They were embarrassed, they were defeated, they were disappointed. If you play the video game, it takes out fucking almost your whole health bar and leaves you with fucking this much. So you're fucked. Very, very cool attack. They ended up making it illegal when they came back in season. Archie, everybody. I don't know if you can hear him howling. Kind of scared me.
Puppy.
They made that move illegal when you watch season 2. Thank God, because that's so fucking OP. But yeah, other than the mech, another thing, Nick's favorite team. One of the things I loved about the mech's design, they were made with the thinnest material, so they were very good aerodynamically. And when they would jump, if they would catch some air, they have these little fucking wings. Looks like they're wearing skirts, kind of, but they have these little wings that like come up and it makes them glide. Honestly, it kind of reminded me of like a moth. Like they were just like a moth gliding through the air. That's the kind of vibe I got just from the design of the mechs and then the wings included. Velstein design's very cool, leading champs. But, not anymore. But, yeah, let's get back to the pilots. So we got Alex Cunningham, a.k.a. The Ghost. Because of his leadership of the team, they ended up at the Season 1 IG1 opening conference. They, people in the streets holding up signs that says, "Stop the V, stop Velstein from getting another win," their third win in a row.
Now, here's a guy who reminds me of a lot of Patrick Mahomes losing on his third try.
I don't get it.
It's a guy who constantly, basically sucks.
NFL.
Yeah.
I don't watch sports, guys. I only watch animated sports. I'm sad. But while Benjamin Bright is interviewing Cunningham at the IG1 opener, He says, is there any racer you're looking out for in particular this year? And he grabs the mic and looks directly at our main character, our boy, Takashi Jin.
Now let's welcome the defending champions, owned by Sir Hamdra. Come on and put your hands together for Team Valstein! Here they are, Cunningham Hume, Jan Michael, and Dude. Let's chat with Cunningham Hume, a.k.a. The Ghost. So tell us there, Cunningham, are there any pilots on the other teams you're keeping a particular eye on this season?
Yeah, there is one.
Really? And who is that?
Takashi Jin of Team Satomi.
Hey, what's the deal? Why do you think Cunningham's sweating you so hard?
I don't know. We've never actually raced one another, but he's got a style that's different from anything I've ever seen. I'm looking forward to the matchup. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
I should say so. Well, Cunningham, thank you for your time and attention.
He recognizes that, a rookie team making it all the way to IG1, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. And their coach, Andre, said after beating, we didn't talk about Team Rolling Stone either.
We'll get there.
After beating Team Rolling Stone in the playoffs of IG2, he basically said, he's like, you guys made it here on pure dumb luck. In the IG1, it's the pro leagues. It's not about luck. It's about talent and skill. You got to be a good racer.
And teamwork.
The whole point of this show.
The entire point of this show.
Teamwork. You can't do anything on your own. And we kind of hate on Takashi for that sole fucking reason, because he's being a little fucking...
Just a prick.
Pansy ass prick, bitch.
Just a prick.
But yeah, so I thought it was cool that you had literally the leading champ gunning for our main character. And I thought it was a cool thing to add in there. But yeah, so Cunningham, he's 22. He's from Germany. And the midfielder, John Michael, is 19 from France. And lastly, the defender, they didn't give him a last name, don't know why, is 21 and hails from España. And now, last but not least, Nick will introduce our final team.
All right, guys, and that is enough for us today, because this episode turned out to be a really long one. So not only are we covering Toonami's first original series ever, our first anime series on the podcast, but also now our very first 2-part episode.
Yes, thanks again for joining us, everybody. We had a lot of fun making this episode. Please join us again in a couple of weeks for part 2. But, pretty soon we're going to be doing a reaction video to the micro series that started it all. And we'd really appreciate if you guys tune in.
Can't wait. All right, guys, remember the 3 golden rules. Fight pollution, save the planet, and as always, be good to yourself.